May the force be with you is a phrase used to wish a person well to overcome a challenge. The invitation in this podcast, May the life force be with you, is to explore what it means to truly feel alive, to appreciate the physical, emotional, and spiritual connection to our energy, and finally to understand how this impacts who you are and all that you do. May this conversation inspire you to thrive. This episode of May the Life Force Be With You is brought to you by Moment Company and the Moment Pebble. The Moment Pebble is a beautiful, natural stone, light-guided breathing device and is a unique gift for someone who needs that gentle reminder to stop and take a break, to take moments throughout their busy day and to practice mindfulness. Just head over to momentcompany.co, that's momentcompany.co, and enter the code LIFEFORCE at checkout to receive an exclusive 10% podcast discount. Hello, I'm Fiona.
And I'm Kahreela.
And we're coming to you from opposite sides of the world yet again. Kahreela, tell us where you are today.
I am in Cairo. I'm back in Egypt.
And you guys can't see her, but I can confirm she has a massive smile on her face.
I'm very
Egypt
happy.
is a special place for you, isn't it?
It has become it. It's like Egypt's always been special for me, but this year it's like my energy. I got to Egypt very late last night, and I could feel my energy being like, I'm happy. I'm back where I'm back in the place that is my charging point, I guess, for whatever I'm about to do next. Like my soul wants me to be in Egypt.
Do you know, when you say charging point, it's so interesting to me. I wear a whoop and it tells me how my energy is on a day-to-day basis. I have not been in a green zone. I've had one green day, which is above 65% since I've been back in the UK. And when I was in Australia, I was green pretty much every day. I have been red zoning, which I've never done 2 back to back. And I've been in the orangey space for pretty much every day. And I've always been convinced that my energy either aligns or does not with the energy of the environment that I'm in. And what my whoop is telling me is it's struggling with England right now.
I don't mean to be offensive to England, but I am going to be. Because I went back to the UK for less than 24 hours. So I left Japan, flew from Japan to Doha, which was amazing because they have a garden in the airport, and I got
Isn't it awesome?
Charge my energy.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling so good just lying in this garden. And so Doha airport was amazing. And then I got to the UK, and literally this was my energetic description of arriving back in the UK. It was like arriving back into a used condom. That is how it felt.
Oh my God.
This is the energetic equivalent of a used condom. And I don't mean to be offensive to the UK. That land is my motherland, my birthland. There are many sacred and important sites and many beautiful people doing beautiful things. But there is something going on that I believe it is a karmic. My guides have suddenly started talking about recurrenting. And there is something to do with colonialism and the recurrenting, the rebalancing, the energy currents changing this summer. Mm-hmm. And the UK has a karmic journey to go on. It just does. And you can feel that in the energy when you haven't been there and you go back now. And that karmic journey we should want to do. We should be choosing to go on it, to rebalance the fairness and to learn not to be in a way of extraction, but in a way of creation and also contributing our energy rather than just extracting our energy. But what I feel is going on collectively in the UK is where the patterns of extraction and colonialism and all of that recent ancestral stuff, we're feeling the energy, we're feeling the truth of the energy of it now, or we're feeling the purification and the purge of that. And it's quite hard to be in the UK energetically, I have to say. Like, you're really rubbing up against that now. I was like, this is horrendous. Get me out of here. Get me to Portugal.
But isn't it funny that I've been feeling the same thing? And you know, I also passed through Doha, interestingly, on my way back from Australia, and I know exactly. It's the first time I've ever done that route, and that airport and that inside garden that they've got, little
Mm.
oasis. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I had exactly the same emotional, energetic experience when I landed in Heathrow. It was like, ugh, like
Yeah.
everything was good, ugh, and everything was great. And again, I'm not being. Hopefully, we're not being, offensive to anybody. I'm Scottish, we can go down lots of different routes, but I just felt everything was great. I felt a heaviness. Nothing quite worked. Nothing was kind of in flow. Even the conveyor belt, the carousel of getting the luggage, it broke. And I'm like, I've been all around the world in the last 4 months and I have not had a broken conveyor belt. I get back to the UK and I have to wait like an hour and a half to get my suitcase. Like, just little simple things of, that doesn't quite work. That isn't quite connected. Nothing quite flows. There's just an unease as soon as I got there. And I can feel it in so what it does is it raises my heart rate. It impacts my sleep, which decreases my life force and my energy. And, my technology is telling me, my data is telling me, you've not been right since you got back from Oz. Like, my temperature is elevated, like all of the main life source triggers in my body are on heightened alert right now. And I live on the beach. I'm very, very lucky. Doesn't make any difference. I get outside, I exercise, I've reconnected with friends and family. All of that has not made an iota of difference. But the one day I've been in green, just to kind of like reflect on this, was actually when I was at a funeral last week.
Wow.
And I had the best hugs all day. So I don't know if that's really, that shows you human connection and the power of being together in a very sad and emotive time. But that's the only green day I've had since I've been back in a month.
But I think that's profound. And I think what you're describing is stress, essentially. And what my guides are saying about stress is that really stress is our response to a lack of energy. Like, where we stress is when we sense lack of energy. And what you and me both sensed as we arrived back in the UK is lack of energy. The energy is not draining out of the land in the UK. It's not draining out of the beautiful hearts and people. It is draining out of the old system that is the system of the age of patriarchy that the UK is like one of the motherships of.
Poster child,
And
right?
but I think what's important to say is, like, there is still energy when you are heart to heart with each other. If you are living in one of the empires where the system is now draining, if you are heart to heart with each other, heart energy is infinite. Nature's energy is infinite. When you're in that stress zone of the feeling, your nervous system responding to that lack of energy, you need to know that it's not a lack of energy for you and your reality. It is the old system starting to die. And to separate that and go, okay, this place is a place of the old system and there's a lot of energy draining out of it. Where am I going to get my energy from? I'm not going to try and get it from the old system because it's not there. and whether that's hugging, being in community, being in nature, like, where can you go and source your energy while you are living in a dying system? And you should want this system to be dying because this system, it's its time. You know, we want this system to be dying. This system belongs to the old age and was founded in unfairness. And we need to be filling ourselves up with energy that is founded in fairness, and holding space for that system to die. And I feel like it's about really just choosing to not try and use the old condom. Like, just to be like, okay, that could go over there.
What a strange analogy that you came up with there. Like, there's a patriarchal, like, there's
so much patriarchy in that analogy. It's like the spunk of colonialism.
Oh my God, the spunk of colonialism. You heard it here first, guys.
And you know what? This was the we're recording this for the May the Force be with you, the May the 4th special. And Fiona asked, like, before we started recording, she was like, what do you want to do for this? And I didn't know, but now I actually do know what I want to include in this, which is on my birthday, it was my 40th, as you know, big 40. And after those few hours in the used condom, I went to Faro in Portugal, which felt a lot better because I feel like the energy of the earth is being recurrented, like the power centers are changing.
Yeah.
And you can feel that, like there's certain lands that are more feminine, that where you can feel the energies flowing towards them, including Egypt and including Portugal. And so go to these places when you need to top up. And so, and I feel like the land work, the self work, the shadow work this summer is all about colonialism and us transcending it all together, all together, all of us together. We've got to start praying for fairness. We've got to start praying for peace. We've got to start transcending the systems that use war and unfairness to keep their energy for the few. And so, like, this is the great shift that's got to start happening now in our reality, in our actual real world reality. And obviously land work is a part of that. And so I went to Faro for my 40th because we had the New Earth Festival that was amazing. And I was so, so blessed because like 30 people came out for my 40th.
Amazing.
And the place where our villa was really, really close to a sacred site that I would call Fairy Mecca. Like it is the Mecca of all of the fairy sacred sites. It's just so sacred. And I was like, that is where I want to go on my 40th. That is where I want to be. And so the morning of my birthday was spent in ceremony there. And my birthday in Portugal is also Freedom Day. So the 25th of April is the day that marks the end of the Portuguese dictatorship. And so it's known as Liberation Day. It's a bank holiday. And it's a really beautiful...
Interesting, because my birthday's a bank holiday.
That's so cool.
Anyway.
We're bank holiday birthday.
Special day. And the king got coronated on my birthday last year and we got an extra special day off. So yeah, it's like people want to take our birthdays off and celebrate.
Yeah, everybody celebrates on our birthday.
Day off for everyone.
Freedom Day in Portugal, and what's beautiful about it is when Portugal was liberated, and it was 50 years. So it was also 50 years since Portugal got its liberation from the dictatorship. And what was special about that particular revolution is that's the one where they put the red carnation flowers into the guns of the soldiers to mark peace. So they put flowers into the guns
I
of
didn't know
the
this.
soldiers. Yeah, and so there's all these famous images of the guns having flowers put in to mark peace, which is just, there's so much ceremony and beauty and nature and humanity in that. And because I knew we were doing land work and it was the 50th, and I really wanted to honor the Liberation Day for the land work, I wrote a prayer that was for our liberation now, that like kind of honored that day, but what is needed now. And that is what I want to share on this episode of May the Life Force Be With You, because I feel like it's really easy when you're in the condom to get just completely caught up in the stress and the lack of energy and how hard it is. And when you remember that actually these systems need to die because they're causing so much that is wrong, like they're causing so much that is against who we truly are as humanity, and that we need to be part of the prayer of that fall. And it's not the fall, like the prayer, the UK and everywhere else, everything just needs to be fair. It's not about lack of energy for things for the UK to be punished. It's just that energy being retained by the few, it needs to be spread fairly now, and that's all that you're feeling, is like the energy currents becoming fairer. It's just your nervous system is responding to lack of energy. Do you see what I mean? To the fall of energy, to the loss of energy. And actually, if it's just about energy, keep listening to May the Life Force Be With You, because there's loads of ways that you can recoup your energy and not be part of that collective drainage. And in fact, you're not meant to be, because you're listening to this. You're holding space for the reclaiming and the rewiring of the great life force energy, the recurrenting of the life force energy that is part of the new earth.
Oh, do you know what I think is interesting when you say that, Kahreela, is that, we have the benefit of doing this. So we're topping up our life force twice a week, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And we have the benefit of practice and insight and awareness and spiritual journeys and curiosity and perspective and different perspectives, right? Which is how we can come together and have this conversation. What I felt when you just said that was that, think of the majority of people that don't have the benefit of everything that we're talking about, that haven't had space held for them, that don't know that there's another way. So it's just a no. Gosh, where must their life force energy be at? And I think that's what the more that I go on my own self-discovery, is that the more I'm aware of that difference and that gap that opens up where people are not in that space. And it's, it's not to be patronizing or condescending in any way, shape or form. It makes me just, my heart breaks a little bit, because it's like, if we could just open up people to be slightly more curious. That's only my ask every day. Just think, well, maybe what if I did do something a little bit different? I might feel different. And that's all it is. It's just that fraction of a glimmer of something that says, maybe I'll just choose a different way today, or I'll choose to think differently, or I'll turn right instead of left, or whatever it is, creates enough change to feel different. And with that collective feeling of opportunity and optimism and curiosity and openness, you can just feel that the energy of the UK would change. But what I feel is just so many people and communities, for very good reason, not able to understand that. They're stuck in the darkness, and I can absolutely understand why, but I just feel it very consciously that I've been on a journey to open myself up to it, but I also know friends who are nowhere near there. And I just wish I could through a big hug or whatever it takes, just say, it's okay to reject where you are. It's okay to say, I want a different way, and it's okay to want to believe.
And in a way, the lack of energy, the energy draining out of the system is going to mean that those people stop being so, like we get high off energy. In the UK,
Yeah.
we've been riding the energy, man.
Yeah.
Like when the energy goes, then you've got the reality. Do you see what I mean? And it's
Yeah. But it's the
the
come down.
reality is actually, this is not the right way for our humanity. This isn't.
The UK is in a come down. We
Yeah,
rode the high.
coming down. Yeah. And like we need to hug each other through it and help each other through it, and and inspire each other through it, and change. The UK needs to change. That's what needs to happen. And like practicing those micro changes, like you say, is every time people do a little thing a little bit differently is part of that change and part of the recurrenting of the energy. Also, like, share this podcast with them. If you are listening and it is helping you, then like the part of the reason that we're doing this podcast
To
is
inspire change.
to help people reclaim their energy from that dying system, and give them tools and give them just things to ponder on. And like we were going to try and keep it the intention was to keep it less woo-woo than we have, but that's what the life force wanted, was woo-woo, isn't it? Like,
I like to say spiritual.
I mean, if it's the choice between a used condom or woo-woo, which one are you going to go for?
Woo-woo all day long. I just don't like using that word in my work because it has a connotation which is, snake oil. It isn't impactful. It's not serious. And it is for me because it's changed my life. And I feel that it's not doing it a service in all the people out there that have been on our podcast that are following a spiritual journey and path and are helping people and in whatever way, shape or form that is. But every guest that we've had, regardless of their modality and their passion, they're in service to help people feel a better way of life, whatever that means. Whether it's through their relationships, it's through their diet, it's through their nutrition, it's through their heart, it's through their singing, it's through their connection of community, it's through plants, it's through psychedelics, it's through medicines. That is what everybody is here in this community to do. Be it service to help others in whatever way resonates for you. And that's where to start. What resonates with you?
Yeah, what's true for you?
Yeah, there is no other way.
What is true for you? And what is going to give you life force energy? Like, that's the other thing, is when we're living in dying systems, our life force energy is so important. It's how you don't get dragged into that system. You need to have your own sovereign currents and your own sovereign woo-woo, v-v-voom, joie de vivre, and if hanging out in fairy Mecca on your 40th birthday gives you life force energy, then do it. Because as we have said, it's the most important resource.
My version of that, which is what I'm doing on my 50th, on the day that this podcast comes out, if anybody wants to catch up with me, I will be at Concord 2 in Brighton, jumping up and down to rhythm of the 90s because I love a bit of house music. And that's my version of life force topping up.
Are you going to make a video for us? Can we have a video of you topping up your life force energy and getting out of the used condom that is England?
I will never want that image in my head ever again. But I am pretty certain there will be video evidence of that at some point across the weekend. And I can't wait because for me, that collective jumping up and down to great house music is joy. It's life force giving, and
It
that's what I love
is.
to do.
The 80s was so good at life force music, hey?
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah,
in fact, the 20th century was just so good at music. So good at juicing up your life force like there's no tomorrow.
honestly, there's nothing better in my like for me that gives it. But and that to your point is a great contribution that the UK has brought to the world. I think is in a lot of great music. And you know, we've spoken in the past with some musicians that we've had on the show around the Beatles music, which is all recorded at the hertz frequency of 432, which is the hertz frequency of love. They were so far ahead of vibration, music, energy than anybody else at that time, and their influence is huge to so many billions of people through that love that comes through the music. So I think we've got a lot to be proud of in this country, not to kind of end it with shitting all over the UK. So we've got a lot to be proud of as we contribute to life force energy. I just think that our perceived importance of the world has had its day.
Definitely. And also,
You
we
know,
don't want that, like the top down power thing. It's not, it's the old way. That is the thing that's dying. It's not the UK, it's not the UK's musical talent.
no.
It is, it is the hoarding and pillaging of energy and resources and the creating out of unfairness that is dying. And we get to be the generations that transcend that way. We get to be the generations that don't participate in that don't add to it. We get to be the generations that change it.
And do you think that can be done peacefully? You know, we've talked about our, weak hearts and greedy men in a previous episode. Do you think that we can do this in peace? Or do you think it has to come with discomfort and a little bit of pain, not to put anybody on a downer? But what's your thoughts on that?
I think there has to be a purge. We're seeing the lack of energy. There has to be change. Is not always comfortable, hey, and it's not always peaceful. And actually, I feel like it's interesting. My guides were channeling in Portugal, saying, that peace, from an energetic point of view, peace is being full of energy. And so prayers for peace are great. But actually, the UK's been full of energy for like 200 years. Like we know how to do full of energy. What we need to learn how to do is circulate our energy and share our energy. And the most powerful prayer right now is for fairness, not for peace. There is peace in the world. There's also not peace, because when you have an extreme, you have the swing the other way. And so it's like, and what I saw as the guides were channeling about this was like, if you're praying for fairness, then how are you going to be able to walk past what is unfair? Whereas if you're praying for peace, you can be full of energy and just walk on by. If you're praying for fairness, then you're going to notice when your thoughts, words, and actions, your privilege is not participating in fairness. And, it's going to be hard for the people of white privilege of the UK that are riding on the top-down side of top-down power. Because it's going to be scary, because it's like you're going to have to give some of your energy away.
Mm-hmm.
But in the giving of way of energy and the circulating of energy, we talk so much on May the Life Force be with you, that true energy comes from movement. And actually, when you start giving your energy and you start producing energy. And then, you're not just extracting and taking and hoarding, you are participating and contributing. And that's service. And that's when you start to generate energy. So it's like a shift that is going to be very, very hard for us to consciously do, because we are not used to having to contribute our energy.
And do you think fairness is the way, is the lens to look at that redistribution? It seems really powerful.
It feels really powerful.
And just also a really, how everything in this world is very binary right now. It's like black, white. It's like yes, no, nothing else in between. Fairness seems to be a beautiful place or a lens to look at things through, because what is it? There is no yes or no. There is no black or white. It feels like fairness is very situational. It's very personally experiential. It's undisputed as well, because fairness shouldn't come with judgment. That's what I'm hearing.
And are your choices contributing to the fairness? Mm-hmm. Like, to me, it's like, if you are living for fairness, you're just going to tip more. You're just going to give more. Like, that sometimes it's a lot of little things.
Or as I say, be less judgmental.
Be less judgmental.
Less argumentative. In that moment, just go, okay, maybe that's fair. Like, how much of the world would change? Okay, that seems fair and reasonable. I'll I don't need to be right. That seems fair that you've got that opinion. Like, there's so many ways that we can translate fairness into micro decisions or micro moments throughout our day that can make us feel more at peace and at ease and flow, but then have the ripple effect of not creating more argument, creating more division, creating more unfairness. It seems to have this lovely soft ripple that's actually really powerful.
And the force, may the fourth be with you, may the life force be with you. Fairness is the force of our humanity flowing freely and fully. That's when it is with us, when we're honoring fairness. And I don't think it's like a flip overnight.
Mm-mm.
I think like it's if you are from a place of privilege, do what you can to share that privilege as far as you can feel, and to circulate as much as you can, because that's you not being in top-down power anymore. That's you being in community power.
Yeah.
And do it dancing to 80s music.
Yeah. 80s, early 90s.
Are you going to wear your whoop on your birthday? And are we going to get the stats?
Yeah. Well, just quickly, I went to see ABBA. I took my mum and my sister at the weekend. This is like totally gone off on a tangent. Sorry, guys. We were deeply into fairness of the universe, and now I'm going to talk about ABBA. And so much joy. So much joy when you are watching ABBA as avatars, which is amazing technology that blows your brain. It's truly spectacular. There's so much joy in the ABBA music, which, by the way, it's 50 years ago this month since they won the Eurovision Song Contest in Brighton. Yeah, they won it in Brighton. So Waterloo was number one when I was born. So maybe that's my connection. But anyway, Dancing Queen came on. So, up jumps my 79-year-old mother and my sister, and we're all dancing to Dancing Queen. And we were right above the dance floor, so we could just see everybody. And there's like thousands of people just having the time of their lives. And it was just brilliant. So to answer your question, I had my whoop on, and my heart rate was the same as it was in my spin class that morning. I was just on a high. The energy was pumping. The collective energy was pumping. And my sister had said when we came out that there was a bunch of people on the dance floor looking up to where we were. And she said they were having so much fun watching our joy. She said, "Did you see them? They were like waving at us, like having fun because we were just having so much fun." And honestly, brought a smile to my face. So, yes, I cannot wait to
ABBA
see.
will save you, UK.
Seriously, play some ABBA. It will cheer everybody up. And it's not, well, it's a bit of 80s and 90s. It won't be what I will be listening to on Saturday, but I will report back on my heart rate
Listen
elevation.
to ABBA on Saturday. Why not? It's your
Although
birthday.
it's a live band, so I can't really ask a live
They might.
band.
They might
No,
have a cup.
it's not in keeping with, 90s club classics. But there's a lot of joyful songs, a lot of my favorite songs that will be played that night. So yes, gosh, I feel like we've gone full circle, but we've ended on a high. I feel high again. I feel like my life force went on a whole roller coaster there.
From colonial spunk to ABBA is pretty impressive, I have to say.
From colonial spunk to
Only on May the Life Force be with you, but
seriously. But what a joy! What is no?
can I read
you
the
for
prayer?
that.
Can we close with the prayer?
Yes.
So this one you might want to close your eyes and pray. Or listen to ABBA. Just do whatever you want to do. And like I said, it was a prayer for Freedom Day in Portugal. May the mouths of all weapons everywhere be filled with the flowers that mark the time of peace. May our own mouths fill with the truths that set each other free. May we share our bounties, spreading fairness as far as we can feel, as the trenches of the old world are drenched in compassion. May all who hold the guns on behalf of mad and madder kings remember that human kindness is your nature, and that together is real power. May we all come together now and meet with equal force that which has been trespassing upon our humanity. May our force be grace, as we liberate ourselves from the dictatorships of the 1%, by learning to beauty for energy rather than battle for it. May the kingdoms of nature know that this is our wish, for all the beings in all the worlds to be free, to be happy, and to be at peace. May it manifest as the sum of our choices, because we love each other always.
Perfect. Thank you.
May the life force be with you on your 50th, and may you get some ABBA. We hope this conversation has topped up your life force energy. If it has, then please help us spread the life force. Like, share, subscribe, all of that. And may the life force be with all of us.